day to all our friends around the world, and welcome to those that are here for the first time. Join us for another fascinating story brought to you courtesy of the Crime Unfiltered team. Please encourage us to create more content like this by subscribing to our channel, watching till the end, liking our videos, commenting down below, and sharing with all your network of friends and family. Today, we will delve deep into one of the most captivating and heartbreaking cases in recent South African history, the tragic death of Reeva Steenkamp and the rise and fall of Oscar Pistorius. This story is one of triumph turned tragedy, love turned despair, and justice sought amidst a backdrop of global intrigue. We'll explore the lives of both Reeva and Oscar, how their paths crossed, the tragic events of February 14th, 2013, the ensuing court proceedings, and the legacy of Reeva Steenkamp. We will attempt to unravel the layers of Reeva's existence, from her humble beginnings to her rise as a model, advocate, and beacon of hope. Through meticulous research of newspaper articles, published books about the case, watching intimate interviews, and poignant reflections, we aim to capture the essence of Reeva Steenkamp, a life cut tragically short, yet forever etched in the annals of history. In the annals of sports history, few stories have captivated the world's attention as profoundly as that of Oscar Pistorius, the South African Paralympian whose meteoric rise and tragic fall serve as a cautionary tale of triumph, hubris, and the spectacular fall from grace due to self-distraction. In the vibrant city of Cape Town, on an autumn day on 19th August 1983, Reeva Rebecca Steenkamp entered the world. Steenkamp was born in Cape Town to parents Barry Steenkamp, a horse trainer, and his second wife, June Steenkamp, who was born in Blackburn, England. She had two older half-siblings from her father and mother's respective previous marriages, Adam Steenkamp and Simone Cowburn. The family later moved to Port Elizabeth, where she attended St. Dominic's Priory School and was known for her bright mind and compassionate heart, and she completed her matric. Raised in the picturesque suburb of Port Elizabeth, Reeva's childhood was defined by a sense of wonder and adventure. Surrounded by the natural beauty of South Africa's Eastern Cape, she reveled in the simple pleasures of life, exploring the rugged coastline, frolicking in the sun-drenched fields, and dreaming of a world filled with endless possibilities. It was within this idyllic backdrop that Reeva's indomitable spirit took root, shaping her worldview and igniting her passion for living life to the fullest. From an early age, Reeva displayed a vibrant personality, coupled with a strong sense of justice and compassion. Her childhood in Port Elizabeth was marked by close family bonds, academic excellence, and a blossoming interest in law. June describes her daughter as someone who was always ready to stand up for others, a trait that would define her career aspirations. Steenkamp began modeling at the age of 14. She was a finalist in the weekend postfaces of the Future competition in 2004 and in the Herald Miss Port Elizabeth contest in 2005. As a child, Reeva wanted to be a lawyer, but when she was in law school, fate intervened. She was riding one of the racehorses, and she fell on her back. She had two crushed vertebrae. She was in traction, and the doctors said they can't be sure whether she is ever going to walk again. She lay there for 6 weeks, not knowing. In the end, Reeva made a full recovery, with what she would later call a massive new mindset. She decided she was not up to riding anymore, said June. She also decided not to practice law, though she earned a law degree and graduated at the top of her class at Nelson Mandela Metropolitan University, where she earned a Bachelor of Laws degree in 2005. Reeva's aspirations to become a lawyer were driven by her desire to stand up for those who could not fight for themselves, a theme that would resonate throughout her life. Reeva embodied the promise of youth, her radiant spirit illuminating the lives of those around her. From her earliest days, she exuded a sense of warmth and the remarkable woman she would become. As Reeva blossomed into adolescence, her dreams soared to new heights, fueled by an insatiable thirst for knowledge and a boundless sense of ambition. Blessed with beauty, grace, and intellect, she set her sights on the world of modeling, determined to carve out a path of her own making. With unwavering resolve and unwavering dedication, Reeva embarked on a journey of self-discovery, charting a course toward her dreams with courage and conviction. In the competitive realm of fashion and modeling, Reeva distinguished herself as a rising star, captivating audiences with her luminous presence and magnetic charm. From the catwalks of Paris to the pages of glossy magazines, she captured the imagination of designers, photographers, and admirers alike, her grace and poise transcending the confines of the runway. Yet, amid the glitz and glamour, Reeva remained grounded in her values, a beacon of authenticity in an industry often characterized by artifice. Beyond the world of fashion, Reeva used her platform to champion causes close to her heart, becoming a vocal advocate for women's rights, empowerment, and social justice. With unwavering conviction and unyielding compassion, she lent her voice to the marginalized and oppressed, shining a light on issues too often relegated to the shadows. Whether speaking out against gender-based violence or advocating for equality in the workplace, Reeva's advocacy resonated with audiences worldwide, inspiring others to join her in the fight for a more just and equitable society. Steenkamp once worked as the live roaming presenter for fashion TV in South Africa. She starred in television advertisements for a range of products, including Toyota Land Cruiser, Clover the One, Reds, and Aldor Pin Pop. She featured as a celebrity contestant on the BBC lifestyle show Baking Made Easy in 2012. She dyed her hair blonde and became the face of Avon South Africa, cut her ties with an emotionally abusive boyfriend, and left Port Elizabeth for the bright lights of Johannesburg, where, she declared, she was going to become a model. Her father was so against it because of something like this happening, said June. It's a jungle, Johannesburg, one of the toughest places in South Africa to live. Between 2005-2006, Reeva begins her modeling career, quickly gaining recognition for her beauty, brains, and charisma. In 2007, Reeva lands a significant modeling job with Toyota, appearing in various advertisements. In 2008, Reeva features in a national campaign for Clover, a leading dairy brand in South Africa. In 2009, Reeva appears on the cover of FHM magazine, boosting her profile in the modeling industry. In 2010, Reeva was named one of FHM's 100 Sexiest Women in the World, ranked at number 45 2 years in a row, further establishing her status as a top model in South Africa. In 2011, Reeva continued to work with major brands such as Avon, Toyota, Zui Original Italiano, Palu Fashion House, and FHM, just to name a few, while expanding her television presence on a BBC-produced show called Baking Made Easy. Reeva's personal life was equally vibrant. Known for her vivacious spirit, she was deeply loved by her friends and family. Her kindness, empathy, and genuine nature left an indelible mark on everyone she met. She was ranked number 40 in the FHM 100 Sexiest Women in the World poll of South African FHM readers in 2011 and number 45 in 2012. Her style icon was Marc Jacobs. She was a celebrity face of the Spirit Day anti-bullying campaign in 2012. In 2012, Reeva got a spot on Tropika Island of Treasure, a reality show described to me as Survivor with Food and Shelter. According to Jane Selliers, at the time, Reeva wasn't a celebrity. She was a well-known model. Tropika built her status for the next 4 months, getting her on talk shows and in celebrity cook-offs. In the same year, Reeva and Lahoud broke up. According to Lahoud, he moved out and left her the apartment. There were 2 months left on the lease, and they apparently mutually decided to part ways. After her lease expired, Reeva began looking for another apartment. In the meantime, she moved in with the family of Gina Myers, a makeup artist she had met at a red carpet event years before and had become very close friends. While she continued pursuing her career, she would briefly date Francois Hougaard, the rugby star. But her destiny had been set years before, when she met a fellow model out on the town one night in Johannesburg. Her name was Samantha Gravenstein, and she would introduce Reeva to her boyfriend Justin DeVaris, who runs the Daytona Group, the city's premier distributor of luxury cars, whose showroom features Rolls-Royces, Bentleys, Aston Martins, and McLarens, and whose brand ambassador was Oscar Pistorius. On a crisp November morning on 22nd November 1986 in Sandton, which is in the heart of Johannesburg, Oscar Leonard Carl Pistorius came into the world, born to Henke and Sheila Pistorius, and the middle child of the total of the 3 children. Oscar's entry into the world was marked by both joy and challenge. Diagnosed with fibular hemimelia, a congenital condition affecting his lower limbs, Oscar faced adversity from his earliest days. Yet his parents vowed to give him a life of opportunity and possibility, instilling in him a spirit of resilience that would shape his journey, which necessitated the double amputation below the knee when he was 11 months old. However, from this crucible of challenge emerged a remarkable determination and resilience that would define his life's journey. From his earliest years, Oscar defied limitations. With prosthetic legs, he navigated the world with a sense of curiosity and determination that belied his tender age. Surrounded by love and encouragement, Oscar's childhood was defined by a thirst for adventure and a refusal to be confined by his physical constraints. Whether playing sports or exploring the great outdoors, Oscar embraced life with an infectious zeal that left an indelible mark on those around him. In the words of Sheila Pistorius, Oscar's mum, that she would repeatedly say to him, "Your brother puts on his shoes, you put on your legs," this embeds a great sense of normalcy for Oscar to dream big and become the high achiever that he became. One of the pivotal events was his parents' divorce when he was just 6 years old. The separation of Henke and Sheila Pistorius not only fractured the family unit but also left an indelible mark on young Oscar's psyche. Henke and Sheila Pistorius' marriage had been strained, with differences and conflicts that ultimately led to their separation. The divorce was a tumultuous experience for the entire family, but it particularly affected the young Oscar. The split meant that Oscar, his older brother Carl, and younger sister Aimee had to navigate a new reality, shuttling between parents and dealing with the emotional fallout of a broken home. The divorce created a sense of instability and insecurity in Oscar's life. The constant shift between his parents' homes disrupted his sense of routine and normalcy, leading to feelings of uncertainty and anxiety. With his parents no longer together, Oscar lost the cohesive parental guidance that is crucial for a child's development. Although his mother, Sheila, tried to provide as much stability as possible, the absence of a united parental front was keenly felt. The divorce deepened Oscar's bond with his mother. Sheila became the central figure in his life, offering unwavering support and encouragement. She played a critical role in shaping his outlook on life, instilling in him the belief that his disability did not define him. Her influence was profound, and her sudden death as a result of an allergic reaction to prescribed cancer medication when Oscar was 15 was another devastating blow. The divorce also led to a strained relationship with his father, Henke. Oscar and his siblings grew distant from Henke, who was less present in their lives post-divorce. This estrangement contributed to Oscar's feelings of abandonment and resentment, further complicating his emotional landscape. During this familial upheaval, sports became a crucial outlet for Oscar. His involvement in athletics provided a sense of purpose and discipline, helping him channel his emotions and frustrations. The physical challenges he overcame through sports mirrored the emotional battles he faced, reinforcing his resilience and determination. The impact of his parents' divorce continued to echo throughout Oscar's life. The early experiences of instability and emotional turmoil influenced his relationships and behavior as an adult. The need to prove himself, coupled with underlying feelings of insecurity, drove his relentless pursuit of athletic success. However, these same factors may have contributed to the volatile and aggressive behavior that emerged later, culminating in the tragic events of February 14, 2013. Oscar Pistorius's parents' divorce was a formative event that shaped much of his emotional and psychological development. The instability it introduced into his young life left scars that he carried into adulthood. While he achieved extraordinary success as an athlete, the unresolved emotional issues from his childhood played a role in the personal struggles and legal troubles that eventually led to his dramatic fall from grace. Pistorius defied the odds from a young age, stage, refusing to be defined by his disability. In his teenage years, he excelled in various sports, including rugby, water polo, and tennis. However, it was on the track that Pistorius would etch his name into the annals of sporting legend. Inspired by his mother, a talented runner in her own right, Pistorius turned his attention to sprinting that would become his life's calling. With each stride, he defied expectations, pushing himself to new heights and blazing a trail of excellence that captivated the world. His talent was undeniable, his determination unwavering. In the crucible of competition, Oscar found his truest self, a force to be reckoned with on the track and beyond. His mother, Sheila Pistorius, instilled in him a sense of determination and resilience. She often told him, "A loser is not the person who gets involved and comes in last, but the person who doesn't get involved." This philosophy would become the driving force behind his future successes. Oscar attended Constantia Kloof Primary School and later Pretoria Boys High School, where his athletic talents began to shine. He participated in various sports, including rugby, water polo, and tennis, demonstrating remarkable adaptability and skill. However, a knee injury in 2003 led him to track and field, where he found his true calling. In January 2004, Pistorius began training with prosthetics designed for running, and within months he was competing at the Paralympic Games in Athens. He won a gold medal in the 200 meters race, setting a new world record. This victory marked the beginning of his illustrious athletic career. Pistorius continued to dominate the track, winning multiple gold medals at the Paralympic World Cup in Manchester in 2005 and the IPC World Championships in 2006. His success extended to able-bodied competitions, where he sought to compete against the best in the world. The defining moment of Pistorius's career came in 2008, when he fought for the right to compete in the Beijing Olympics. Initially barred from competing by the International Association of Athletics Federations, IAF, due to his prosthetic limbs being deemed an advantage, Pistorius successfully appealed the decision. Although he did not qualify for the Olympics, he competed in the 2008 Paralympics, winning 3 gold medals in the 100 meters, 200 meters, and 400 meters. In 2004, Pistorius competed in the Athens Paralympic Games, where he won the gold medal in the 200 meters and the bronze in the 100 meters, laying the foundation for his future dominance on the international stage. Yet, it was his audacious quest to compete against able-bodied athletes that would thrust him into the global spotlight, challenging perceptions and redefining the boundaries of possibility. Pistorius's iconic carbon fiber prosthetic blades, which earned him the moniker Blade Runner, sparked a contentious debate over the boundaries of disability and the definition of fairness in sports. Despite facing skepticism and legal battles, Pistorius persevered, ultimately becoming the first double amputee to compete in the able-bodied Olympics at the 2012 London Games. Oscar Pistorius, during his rise to fame and even before his tragic fall, was linked with several high-profile relationships. Here is a detailed account of some of the women he dated, the timelines of their relationships, and the causes of their breakups, according to various books and South African tabloids. From 2008 to 2012, Jenna Edkins, a marketing executive, had an on and off relationship with Oscar Pistorius. Their relationship spanned several years and was marked by numerous reconciliations and breakups. The relationship finally ended as Oscar's sporting career took off and he began receiving more attention from the media and other women. Jenna Edkins stood by Oscar even during his trial, insisting that he was not capable of the violence he was accused of, but their romantic relationship did not resume. Samantha Taylor, a part-time model, was in a relationship with Oscar Pistorius for about 18 months. Their relationship was frequently covered by the media, with Samantha often appearing alongside Oscar at public events. Their relationship started sometime in 2011 and ended in November 2012. According to Samantha, their breakup was due to Oscar's infidelity. She claimed he was unfaithful, including a notable incident where he allegedly cheated on her with Reeva Steenkamp. Post-breakup, Samantha revealed that Oscar had a temper and could be controlling, which further contributed to their split. While these are the most notable relationships reported in the media, there have been mentions of Oscar Pistorius having brief encounters and dating other women throughout his rise to fame. However, these relationships were either not confirmed or not covered extensively by the media. Oscar Pistorius's relationships were often marked by turbulence and controversy, reflecting a pattern of intense but unstable romantic involvements. The breakups were frequently attributed to his alleged infidelities, controlling behavior, and the intense pressure of his public and athletic life. These relationships, particularly the one with Reeva Steenkamp, played a significant role in shaping public perception of Oscar both before and after the tragic events of February 14, 2013. In the summer of 2012, Oscar's dream became reality as he qualified for the London Olympics, becoming the first double amputee to compete in the able-bodied games. His presence on the track was electrifying, his performance awe-inspiring. Though he did not get a medal, Oscar's courage and determination earned him the admiration of millions around the world. After the 2012 Summer Olympics, Pistorius flew to America, where he appeared on The Tonight Show with Jay Leno and on Piers Morgan Tonight. By the time he returned, some say the humble Oscar was gone, replaced by Oscar the Invincible. He was bragging about his adventures in the good life, a former confidant told me. He was like, "I'm the man, I'm Oscar, the world owes me." That sense of entitlement, he wasn't like that, he was made into that. His friends, the confidant continued, changed from the good old lads to the Southern Joburg tattooed skinhead gang type. He surrounded himself with people who used violence and rage as an outlet for whatever you feel. Even Gianni Merlo, the Italian journalist who helped Pistorius write his autobiography, wondered, have we unwittingly cultivated a monster? God forbid. I didn't see it going to this point, but I knew something was going to crack. According to reports from South African newspapers and tabloid sources, Reeva Steenkamp was introduced to Oscar Pistorius by her friend Samantha Gravenstein. Samantha was dating Justin Devaris, a luxury car dealer and a close friend of Pistorius. Justin Devaris recalls in several interviews how the introduction was seemingly casual yet impactful. Reeva Steenkamp and Oscar Pistorius met on November 4, 2012, during a track day event at the Kyalami racetrack hosted by Justin Devaris in Johannesburg. This event marked the beginning of a whirlwind relationship that, although brief, captured significant public and media attention. Justin independently invited Oscar and Reeva to come and enjoy the day's festivities. It was apparent that Oscar and Reeva were immediately attracted to one another. A close source had told Sunday Times, South Africa. Following their initial meeting at Kyalami, Pistorius invited Steenkamp to accompany him to the South African Sports Awards ceremony that same evening. Reeva's friend Gina Myers recalled how excited Steenkamp was about the invitation and how quickly the relationship seemed to take off. "I desperately need a dress for tonight. I'm going to the South African Sports Awards with Oscar," Reeva reportedly told Gina Myers over the phone. Their relationship progressed rapidly after the awards ceremony. Friends and family of both Steenkamp and Pistorius noted the intense nature of their bond. In her memoir, Reeva, A Mother's Story, June Steenkamp, Reeva's mother, reflects on the early days of their relationship and her daughter's excitement. Reeva was thrilled to be seen with Oscar. He was a national hero and she was a rising star. They seemed to complement each other perfectly. A quote from June Steenkamp's book, Reeva, A Mother's Story. Reeva and Oscar soon became a prominent couple in the public eye, often seen at social events and high-profile gatherings. Their relationship was widely covered by South African tabloids and gossip columns which frequently speculated on their future together. Reeva and Oscar were the talk of the town. They attended events hand in hand, and their chemistry was undeniable, noted a report in Heat magazine. Tragically, their relationship came to a devastating end on February 14, 2013. The events leading up to Reeva's death and the subsequent trial of Oscar Pistorius brought intense scrutiny and differing accounts of their relationship dynamics. While some sources described their relationship as loving and passionate, others pointed to underlying tensions and misunderstandings. The fairy tale romance came to a shocking and violent end, raising questions about the true nature of their relationship and the events of that fateful night, reported the Mail and Guardian. Yet, even as he basked in the glow of success, shadows loomed on the horizon, foreshadowing a descent into darkness that would forever alter his destiny. To understand the circumstances that led to this tragedy, it is important for everyone to know the significant acts of violence that seemed to define Oscar's existence in the months and weeks leading up to the murder of Reeva Steenkamp. Detective Botha remembered the first time he had arrested Pistorius in September 2009 for allegedly slamming a door on a woman's arm named Cassidy Taylor Memory during a party at his home in Silverwood's country estate. At the police station, the superstar reportedly signed autographs and posed for photographs for infatuated officers. The case was quickly dropped, and Pistorius sued Taylor Memory for 22 million rand, claiming that his arrest had caused him to lose sponsors. Taylor Memory countersued. Neither side budged for years until several weeks after Reeva's killing, when Pistorius reportedly withdrew his claim against Taylor Memory and entered settlement negotiations. One witness recalled him dining with friends a few weeks before Reeva's shooting at Tasha's restaurant in the Melrose Arch Mall. One friend had a pistol, which he passed under the table to Oscar. The gun went off, and a shot ricocheted and almost hit another of Oscar's buddies in the foot. There was also an incident at the Kyalami Motorsport racetrack where Pistorius confronted Quinton van der Berg, the Cape Town coal mining magnate and TV producer, after hearing that he had become involved with one of Pistorius's former girlfriends. Van der Berg got a lawyer to obtain a restraining order, said Botha, and Van der Berg's friend Mark Batchelor, the former soccer star, urged Pistorius to back off. Pistorius told Mark Batchelor he would break his legs, said Botha. This is a detailed chronological account of the murder of Reeva Steenkamp, which started on February 13th, 2013 at 6 p.m. with the arrival of Reeva, who could be seen on the security camera footage of the Silverwood country estate, where Oscar lived in an upscale gated community in Pretoria, South Africa. The couple had planned to spend Valentine's Day together, and Reeva had informed Gina, who was her best friend and housemate, of her plans. Between 7 p.m. and 10 p.m. the couple spends the evening together. Reports from various sources indicate they had a quiet night, with Reeva preparing a Valentine's Day surprise for Pistorius. They enjoyed dinner and some quality time together. In our research, we came across concise animations that explain both the version given to the court by Oscar's team and the prosecution's versions presented here for your better understanding.
At about 10 p.m. on February 13th, Oscar Pistorius is watching TV in bed while his girlfriend, Reeva Steenkamp, is doing yoga. Finishing her exercises, Steenkamp gets into bed and they fall asleep. Hours later, Pistorius wakes up and, minus his prosthetic legs, he pulls a fan inside from the balcony when he hears a noise from the bathroom. He takes a 9mm parabellum pistol from under the bed and heads to the bathroom, screaming for Steenkamp to call the police and for the intruders to leave his home. Pistorius doesn't see Steenkamp is not in bed because it's dark. Inside the bathroom, he sees the window open and the toilet door closed. He hears movement inside the toilet and, assuming the intruder is inside, fires 4 shots at the door before shouting for Steenkamp to call the police. Getting no response, Pistorius backs out, keeping his eyes on the bathroom entrance. After finding the bed empty, he realizes Steenkamp may have been inside the toilet. He returns to the bathroom calling her name, but finds the door locked. Pistorius goes to the balcony to scream for help, before putting on his prosthetic legs and trying to kick the door down. Failing, he returns with a cricket bat to try and bash the door down. After breaking 1 or 2 panels, Pistorius finds the key and opens the door. He finds Steenkamp still alive and pulls her into the bathroom, where he phones estate administrator Johan Stander, asking him to call an ambulance before dialing Netcare, South Africa's emergency medical services. He then carries Steenkamp downstairs. At about 4:15 a.m. on February 14th, Detective Hilton Botha enters Oscar Pistorius' home. He sees the body of Reeva Steenkamp, covered with towels at the bottom of the staircase. As a post-mortem would confirm, Botha sees 3 bullet wounds. On the right side of the head, the right elbow and the right hip. Upstairs, the detective walks towards the bathroom, noticing a 9mm bullet cartridge outside the entrance. Inside, he sees 3 more 9mm cartridges, and a silver Taurus 9mm firearm on the bath mat in front of the shower, and a bloody cricket bat in front of the first wash basin. In front of the stall door, he examines fragments of the door on the floor. From the bullet holes in the door fragments, Detective Botha concludes that the angles of the bullet's entry suggest that the athlete must have been wearing his prosthetic legs at the time of firing. This contradicts a significant detail in Pistorius' account of his actions.
The home of Oscar Pistorius, where he's accused of murdering his girlfriend this morning. High walls, electric fences, and police cars. His luxury villa, now a murder scene. In a country with countless national icons, Pistorius had earned a place amongst them. And with his new girlfriend, a model and law graduate, his image became even more marketable, their relationship captured by glossy magazines. But at sunrise today, he was pictured once again, this time wearing a hoodie as he was led from his home under arrest. Then glimpsed again, briefly, as he was taken to a police station to spend the night inside a cell. A man who spent months promoting his image was concealing it tonight. Police were not obliged to release many details, but chose to reveal past allegations of domestic violence.
I can confirm that there has previously been incidents at the home of Mr. Oscar Pistorius. I'm not going to elaborate on that. There have previously been incidents of allegations of domestic nature.
His lawyers rushed to his side and were asked about his state of mind.
He's very well, obviously emotional, but he's fine, guys.
Tonight his father spoke to South African radio.
I don't know nothing. To speak to the police will be the best, and he's sad at the moment. But yes, if there's any statement that comes from anyone, it must be from Oscar.
Oscar Pistorius has spoken before about how highly he prizes his safety. Not only does he live here in one of the most secure communities in Pretoria, but he says that he sleeps with a pistol next to his bed and a machine gun close to the window. Officers left the home with details still emerging, and a nation shocked that such accusations could be made about their hero. Rohit Katru, ITV News, Pretoria.
Pistorius' gun collection. We now know he applied for additional gun permits in January as his relationship with Reeva Steenkamp began. But he'd begun to collect guns all last year, and this evening we've learned that Reeva Steenkamp herself had gone to a firing range last year. The last image, of course, of her alive in her car arriving at Pistorius' home that night. So many of you tweeting after 2020 last night built a life-size model of Pistorius' apartment. ABC's Amy Robach there and our legal analyst Dan Abrams going through evidence so far step by step. Among the key questions from the prosecution is the so-called intruder theory, as Pistorius claims if the intruder was in the bathroom with no escape, why would Pistorius kill him?
If an intruder is trapped in this small space, why is Oscar Pistorius so intent? Why does he feel the need?
Why does he feel threatened
to shoot inside like that without figuring out who was in here first?
Police search for clues, finding 2 phones by the bath mat, one splattered with blood. The prosecution calls the location of those phones the key to the case.
Prosecutors say, what were 2 cell phones doing there?
It would imply an argument.
She just got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and somehow brought 2 cell phones with her to leave outside the toilet? They say it doesn't make any sense at all.
Pistorius' gun collection. We now know he applied for additional gun permits in January as his relationship with Reeva Steenkamp began. But he'd begun to collect guns all last year, and this evening we've learned that Reeva Steenkamp herself had gone to a firing range last year. The last image, of course, of her alive in her car arriving at Pistorius' home that night. So many of you tweeting after 2020 last night built a life-size model of Pistorius' apartment. ABC's Amy Robach there and our legal analyst Dan Abrams going through evidence so far step by step. Among the key questions from the prosecution is the so-called intruder theory, as Pistorius claims if the intruder was in the bathroom with no escape, why would Pistorius kill him?
If an intruder is trapped in this small space, why is Oscar Pistorius so intent? Why does he feel the need?
Why does he feel threatened?
To shoot inside like that without figuring out who was in here first.
Police search for clues, finding 2 phones by the bath mat, one splattered with blood. The prosecution calls the location of those phones the key to the case.
Prosecutors say, what were 2 cell phones doing there?
It would imply an argument.
She just got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and somehow brought 2 cell phones with her to leave outside the toilet? They say it doesn't make any sense at all.
Pistorius' gun collection. We now know he applied for additional gun permits in January as his relationship with Reeva Steenkamp began. But he'd begun to collect guns all last year, and this evening we've learned that Reeva Steenkamp herself had gone to a firing range last year. The last image, of course, of her alive in her car arriving at Pistorius' home that night. So many of you tweeting after 2020 last night built a life-size model of Pistorius' apartment. ABC's Amy Robach there and our legal analyst Dan Abrams going through evidence so far step by step. Among the key questions from the prosecution is the so-called intruder theory, as Pistorius claims if the intruder was in the bathroom with no escape, why would Pistorius kill him?
If an intruder is trapped in this small space, why is Oscar Pistorius so intent? Why does he feel the need?
Why does he feel threatened?
To shoot inside like that without figuring out who was in here first.
Police search for clues, finding 2 phones by the bath mat, one splattered with blood. The prosecution calls the location of those phones the key to the case.
Prosecutors say, what were 2 cell phones doing there?
It would imply an argument.
She just got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and somehow brought 2 cell phones with her to leave outside the toilet? They say it doesn't make any sense at all.
Oscar Pistorius, as you've never seen him before. And in these pictures uncovered by Sky News, the athlete shows his prowess at handling a gun.
Hold on. Tell me when you're ready. You're ready. Take out.
Screams of delight, but listen to the voice of a man who sounds very much like Oscar Pistorius.
It's a lot softer than brain, but it's like a zombie stopper. Oh my god.
The man in red is familiar to South Africans. He's the Springbok rugby star Francois Hougaard, romantically linked to Reeva Steenkamp around the same time as she was seeing Pistorius. The 2 men seem very close here, enjoying a hobby popular with well-to-do South Africans. But to Pistorius, guns were not just a game. They were his security too. This is him firing his 9mm pistol, the same gun he kept under his bed and which he used to kill Reeva Steenkamp. He's now about to start the biggest battle of his life. The state will try to prove he deliberately killed his girlfriend. Pistorius insists he mistook her for a burglar. The amputation of both legs as a baby was to leave Pistorius feeling vulnerable as an adult. He adapted well, but without his prosthetics, he was less mobile. His childhood was a happy one, but it was burglaries years later which left him with a fear of intruders. His multi-million-rand house in Pretoria is on a walled estate with 24-hour security, but he still didn't feel safe. This was the man courted by prime ministers. He felt his hero status made him a target for thieves. It's all such a long way from where he started, as a sociable young boy with an incredible talent for running. In this rare footage, he's just 17 and at boarding school. His mother had died 2 years earlier. He'd taken up running using blades just a few months before the Athens Olympics, but still came home with medals, to everyone's surprise. And here he appears self-conscious about any attention. And when asked who he wanted to thank, the young Pistorius said this.
All my dorm buddies. If it wasn't for them, I definitely wouldn't have got where I was.
This was the Oscar Pistorius before fame and fortune, a young man with a strong religious faith who felt lucky.
Obviously you do wonder what would it be like if I had legs, but it's not a thing that really bothers me. I'm very happy with my prosthetic legs. I think everything happens for a reason. God had a plan when he gave me these legs, and I think, at the end of the day, I'm happy. I don't think I would have been doing athletics if I was able-bodied. I don't see myself as disabled, so either way, you're winning from both sides.
Fast forward 9 years and Oscar Pistorius is a honed, polished winner with a tough new attitude.
If you want to be the top dog in your area, it's like becoming part of a pack mentality where you think about yourself as the top dog, the alpha male or the alpha female, and I'm running the show. And that type of arrogance, almost a narcissistic, idealistic type of approach that I roll over for nobody.
Hundreds of miles away, a young girl was growing up in the South African coastal city of Port Elizabeth. Reeva Steenkamp too found some success when just a teenager, entering a competition in her local newspaper and being spotted by the paper's then beauty editor.
She was 15, and a young 15. There was nothing sophisticated about her. She was sweet, down to earth, earthy, just one of those girls who had the it factor, a little bit early Kate Moss.
She dreamed of marriage and a family, but did a law degree too in case the modelling didn't work out. She needn't have worried. Soon the gauche girl from Port Elizabeth had changed too into a sophisticated, glossy magazine model. Pistorius said the two of them were deeply in love. They'd only been dating a few months. But in the early hours of Valentine's Day last year, he took the decision to pick up his gun and shoot. The judge now has to decide whether he meant to kill or it was just a tragic accident. Alex Crawford, Sky News, Johannesburg.
This is a trigger warning. Reeva Steenkamp's father, Barry Steenkamp, wanted the pictures of his deceased daughter to be made public as a powerful and visceral reminder of the devastating consequences of gun violence. Barry Steenkamp believed that showing the graphic and heart-wrenching images of Reeva's injuries would evoke a strong emotional response and raise awareness about the brutal reality of such crimes. He hoped that by confronting the public with the stark and horrifying truth of what happened to Reeva, it might serve as a deterrent to future acts of violence and foster a deeper understanding of the profound impact such tragedies have on the families of victims. This decision was driven by a desire to honor Reeva's memory and to use the tragedy of her death to advocate for change and justice. This is not for children or sensitive adults. Kindly skip 10 seconds ahead. Detective Botha informed the Steenkamps of their daughter's tragedy, and Botha transported Reeva's body for a post-mortem to determine the cause of death. He instructed his colleagues to take Pistorius to a hospital for blood and urine tests. Then he returned to the crime scene to gather and bag evidence. He found unlicensed ammunition for a .38 caliber revolver and vials containing an unidentified liquid, along with syringes and needles. The police took the laptops, the iPads, the phones, the gun, the cartridges, all bagged, marked, and sent to different forensic departments, Detective Botha told journalists. Accidentally killing women would appear to be a family pastime, wrote Richard Poplack in the Daily Maverick newspaper. Carl Pistorius has been a near constant presence at his younger brother's murder trial. The athlete has described how Carl became a father figure for himself and his sister after their parents' marriage broke down and their mother died. The day before Pistorius's bail hearing, his brother Carl had appeared in court on a culpable homicide charge stemming from a 2008 auto accident in which he collided with a female motorcyclist who was killed. In March, Carl pleaded not guilty to the charge. Reeva Steenkamp's funeral was a somber and emotional event, reflecting the deep loss felt by her family and friends. The private service allowed those closest to her to grieve away from the public eye, while the extensive media coverage and public memorials highlighted the widespread impact of her tragic death. On February 19th, Reeva's funeral was held at Dove's Funeral Home, and her body was cremated at Victoria Park Crematorium in Port Elizabeth, and the service was conducted by Pastor Kurt Sutton of the Oasis Family Church in Port Elizabeth. The decision for cremation was in line with the family's wishes, and her ashes were later taken to a family home where a private moment was shared among close relatives. The funeral service for Reeva Steenkamp was a private affair, attended by close family and friends. The decision to keep the service private was made to protect the family's privacy and to allow them to grieve away from the intense media scrutiny. The ceremony was attended by approximately 90 people, including Reeva's parents, Barry and June Steenkamp, her close friends, and other family members. Many of Reeva's friends from the modeling industry and colleagues from her work as a reality TV star were present to pay their respects. During the service, heartfelt eulogies were delivered by family and friends. Barry Steenkamp, Reeva's father, was particularly emotional as he spoke about his daughter. Friends shared memories of Reeva's vibrant personality, her achievements, and her dreams. The funeral venue was adorned with numerous floral tributes. White flowers, symbolizing purity and remembrance, were prominently featured. Friends and family brought bouquets, and there were several large floral arrangements from well-wishers. Despite the private nature of the ceremony, the media presence outside the crematorium was significant. Journalists and photographers gathered to cover the event, though they were kept at a distance to respect the family's privacy. After the funeral service, Reeva Steenkamp's parents, Barry and June Steenkamp, went to the ocean to find solace and peace as they remembered and honored their daughter. The ocean holds a special significance for them, as it was a place Reeva loved. She loved dolphins and pink-colored roses. Spending time by the sea helps them feel connected to her, offering a sense of tranquility and comfort amid their grief. The ocean serves as a poignant reminder of Reeva's vibrant spirit and the precious memories they shared with her. To this day, Reeva's family and friends go to the seaside on her memorial and her birthday. In addition to the funeral, several memorial services were held in Reeva's honor. Friends and supporters in Johannesburg and other parts of South Africa organized vigils and memorials to remember her life and to call for an end to violence against women. In the days following the funeral, Reeva's mother, June Steenkamp, made several public statements expressing her grief and calling for justice for her daughter. The family also thanked the public for their support and asked for continued privacy as they mourned their loss. On 15th February 2013, Pistorius acknowledged that he shot Steenkamp, but he said that he mistook her for an intruder. Pistorius was taken into police custody and was formally charged with murder. Pistorius was initially charged with premeditated murder for the fatal shooting of Reeva Steenkamp. The prosecution argued that he intentionally killed Steenkamp by firing 4 shots through a locked bathroom door. Firearm-related charges included illegal possession of ammunition. Pistorius was charged with possessing illegal ammunition found in his home. Reckless endangerment involving firearms. These charges were related to 2 separate incidents. One involved Pistorius allegedly firing a gun in a public restaurant called Tasha's, and the other was related to discharging a firearm out of a car's sunroof in the presence of his former girlfriend, Samantha Taylor. The entire trial was broadcast live via audio, and parts of the trial were also broadcast live via television. Oscar's case began with a major victory for the prosecution when the crime was classified as Schedule 6, or premeditated murder, which meant that Pistorius would have to prove to the court exceptional circumstances to be released on bail. The minute that the state said Schedule 6, he's in a whole world of trouble, and he has to show his hand, said a Johannesburg attorney with knowledge of the case. To escape the nightmare of probably having to spend up to 2 years awaiting trial in a hellish South African prison, Pistorius presented an affidavit of his version of events. As Oscar sobbed uncontrollably in court, his attorney read the affidavit.
How do you plead?
Not guilty, my lady.
Thank you.
At the time of the tragic accident which led to Reeva's death, we were in a loving relationship. The discharging of my firearm was precipitated by a noise in the toilet which I, in my fearful state, knowing that I was on my stumps, unable to run away or properly defend myself physically, believed to be the intruder or intruders coming out of the toilet to attack Reeva and me.
My lady, just after 3, I woke up from a woman's terrible screams. Then I also heard a man screaming for help. My lady, my husband talked on the phone and explained to the security that there are people next door being attacked and that they should go there. I heard her screams again. It was worse. It was more intense. Just after her screams, my lady, I heard 4 shots. It was 4 gunshots that I heard.
At some point in time, when he realized that it might have been Reeva, he bashed the door with the cricket bat so hard. The bashing of the door would resemble when you hear from a distance gunshot. It's hard.
After Pistorius was granted bail, his attorneys successfully appealed the bail restrictions, which included abstinence from alcohol and not returning to his house so that he could resume travelling and racing. Cleared to leave South Africa, Pistorius must submit any travel plans to the court. "It's like he's dancing on Reeva's grave," declared Mofokeng. "The Women's League," she assured me, "will picket the court every day of Pistorius's upcoming trial. And if the magistrate, who alone will determine the verdict, sets Pistorius free, the League will protest until the end of Oscar's days." "This case is the worst, an embarrassment against women," she said. "We want him in the cells." The trial, which began in March 2014, was a media spectacle. The prosecution, led by Jerry Nell, relentlessly pursued Pistorius, portraying him as a hot-headed individual prone to violence. The defense, headed by Barry Rue, aimed to depict Pistorius as a tragic figure who made a grave error in judgment. Key witnesses, forensic experts, and emotional testimonies from both sides painted a vivid yet conflicting picture of what transpired that night. In the trial of Oscar Pistorius, one of the most critical pieces of testimony came from the pathologist who examined Reeva Steenkamp's body. Dr. Gert Seyman, a renowned forensic pathologist, provided detailed insights into the nature of Reeva's injuries and the circumstances surrounding her death. Dr. Simon testified that Reeva Steenkamp sustained 3 gunshot wounds, 1 to the head, 1 to the hip, and 1 to the arm. The pathologist detailed how each bullet caused significant damage. The head wound, the most fatal injury, caused by a bullet that entered Reeva's right temple, shattered her skull and damaged her brain. Dr. Simon noted that this wound alone would have been immediately incapacitating and likely fatal within minutes. The hip wound. The second bullet hit Reeva in the hip, causing a significant fracture to the pelvic bone. This injury would have caused immense pain and significant bleeding. The arm wound. The third bullet struck her in the right arm, passing through her fingers before entering her arm. This wound suggested a defensive posture, as if Reeva was trying to shield herself. Dr. Seyman's analysis aligned with the physical evidence found at the scene. He pointed out that the trajectory of the bullets and the nature of the wounds indicated that Reeva was not standing upright, but rather in a defensive position, possibly cowering or trying to protect herself from the gunfire. This testimony was crucial in supporting the prosecution's argument that Reeva was intentionally targeted and not mistaken for an intruder. Oscar Pistorius' defense hinged on his claim that he believed an intruder had entered his home and that he shot through the bathroom door in a state of fear and panic. However, his statements contained several discrepancies that undermined his credibility. In his initial statement to the police, Pistorius claimed that he thought Reeva was still in bed when he heard a noise from the bathroom. He said he did not check to see if she was in bed before firing through the door, assuming the person inside was an intruder. Throughout the trial, Pistorius' version of events changed multiple times. Pistorius initially stated that he believed Reeva was in bed when he fired the shots. Later, he suggested that he thought she might be behind the bathroom door, but did not call out or verify her whereabouts before shooting. Pistorius' account of the sequence of events on the night of the shooting varied. At one point, he claimed to have shouted for the intruder to leave and for Reeva to call the police, but no such calls were made. Pistorius asserted that he was in a highly anxious and fearful state due to previous threats and home invasions. However, the prosecution questioned why he did not use the security measures available in his high-security estate, such as activating the alarm system or calling security personnel.
I woke up, my lady, in the early hours of the 14th of February. I noticed that the fans were still running and that the door was still open. I took the small fan, the floor fan. I placed it pretty much just inside the room. It was at this point that I heard a window open in the bathroom. It sounded like the window sliding open, and then I could hear the window hit the frame as if it had slid to a point where it can't slide anymore. My lady, that's the moment that everything changed. I thought that there was a burglar that was gaining entry into my home, and the first thing that ran through my mind was that I needed to arm myself, that I needed to protect Reeva and that I needed to get my gun. I made my way along the side of my bed. I grabbed my firearm from underneath the bed, and it had a canvas holster on it. I immediately took it out the holster. I slowed down and I had my firearm extended in front of me just as I left my bed. I whispered for Reeva to get down and phone the police. I couldn't see into the bathroom at this point, but I could hear the door slam, and for me to confirm that there was a person or people inside the toilet or inside the bathroom at that time. I wasn't sure where to point the firearm. I had it pointed at the toilet, but my eyes were going between the window and the toilet. I wasn't sure if somebody was going to come out of the toilet to attack me. Before I knew it, I'd fired 4 shots at the door. My ears were ringing, I couldn't hear anything. So I shouted, I kept on shouting for Reeva to phone the police. I retreated back to a point where I got to the corner of the bed. There was nobody, no one responded to me. I think it was at that point, my lady, that it first dawned upon me that it could be Reeva that was in the bathroom or in the toilet. I made my way back to inside the bathroom, and I walked up to the bathroom door. I tried to grab the handle and rip open the door, push the door open, and it was locked. For the first time, I turned around with my back facing the bathroom. I ran back to the room. I opened the curtains. I shouted from the balcony. I opened the doors and I shouted from the balcony for help. I screamed, help, help, help. I screamed for somebody to help me. Put my prosthetic legs on. I ran as fast as I could back to the bathroom. I ran into the door. It didn't move at all. I leaned back and I tried to kick the door. nothing happened. I was just panicked at this point. I didn't really know what to make or what to do. I ran back to the bedroom where the cricket bat was between the cabinet and the door. I ran straight up to the door and I started hitting it. I think I hit it 3 times. Whilst I leant over the partition to get in, I saw the key, so I took it and I unlocked the door and I flung the door open. I threw it open and I sat over Reeva and I cried. She wasn't breathing.
The forensic evidence presented during the trial contradicted Pistorius's claims. First was the bullet trajectories. The trajectory of the bullet suggested that Pistorius was standing on his prosthetic legs when he fired, rather than on his stumps as he claimed. This indicated a more deliberate shooting stance. Secondly, bathroom door. The door was riddled with bullet holes, and the angle of the shot suggested they were fired from a position consistent with someone standing upright. Thirdly, cell phone records. Records showed that Reeva had her cell phone with her in the bathroom, raising questions about why she would have taken it if she intended to use the toilet in the middle of the night. Several witnesses testified to hearing screams and gunshots on the night of the shooting. Their accounts indicated that there were multiple shots fired in quick succession, followed by a brief pause and then more shots. This contradicted Pistorius's assertion that he fired all the shots in rapid succession out of fear. The pathologist's testimony and the discrepancies in Oscar Pistorius's statements were pivotal in the trial. Dr. Simon's detailed analysis of Reeva Steenkamp's injuries provided compelling evidence that challenged Pistorius's narrative of the events. The inconsistencies in Pistorius's accounts further weakened his defense and played a crucial role in the court's decision to convict him. On 12th of September 2014, Judge Thokozile Masipa delivered a verdict that Pistorius was not guilty of murder, but guilty of the culpable homicide of Steenkamp and reckless endangerment with a firearm at a restaurant. On 21st October 2014, he was sentenced to a maximum of 5 years for culpable homicide with a concurrent 3-year suspended prison sentence for reckless endangerment. Pistorius was released on parole on 19th October 2015 after serving 1/6 of his sentence. The state appealed the conviction, and in December 2015, the Supreme Court of Appeal overturned the conviction for culpable homicide, finding him guilty of murder instead. In September 2014, judge finds Pistorius guilty of culpable homicide. In October 2014, begins 5-year sentence. In October 2015, transferred to house arrest. In December 2015, appeal court changes verdict to murder. On 6 July 2016, Masipa sentenced Pistorius to 6 years in prison for murder. The state appealed again, this time for a longer sentence. In November 2017, the Supreme Court of Appeal then imposed a sentence of 15 years, with the time he had already served reducing the time to an additional 13 years and 5 months. In June 2022, meets Ms. Steenkamp's father Barry as part of a restorative justice program. By November 2023, Pistorius, who had since served half his sentence at the Atteridgeville Correctional Centre in Pretoria, had become eligible for parole in 2023. His parole hearings have been closely watched by the public, with ongoing debates about his release and the conditions of his parole. Ironically, Reeva was scheduled to deliver a lecture on women abuse to students at St. Dominic's School in Port Elizabeth South on Valentine's Day, which was the day she was killed by Oscar Pistorius on 14th of February 2013. More than 2 years later, June Steenkamp, the mother of late Reeva Steenkamp, finally managed to deliver her daughter's speech on Wednesday 21st October 2015. Barry Steenkamp attended every court session of Oscar's trial while patiently waiting for justice for his beloved daughter. All the while, the grieving and sometimes angry father, through the whole audio's ordeal of waiting for the long arm of the law to catch up with Oscar Pistorius for murdering his daughter, who was a model and law law graduate. Reeva's father, Barry, died aged 80 on 15th of September 2023. The family lawyer and spokesperson, Tanya Cohen, confirmed Barry Steenkamp's death to the Associated Press. It is with a heavy heart that we announce the sudden and peaceful passing of Barry Steenkamp. Barry was a blessing to many, and he will be remembered with love and great fondness. We find solace in the knowledge that he is now with his beloved Reeva. In November 2023, the parole board, with no objection from the Steenkamp family, approves the parole application from Oscar Pistorius. On 5th of January 2024, Oscar Pistorius was released on parole and would serve the remainder of his term living at his wealthy uncle multi-million-dollar estate in Pretoria. Oscar Pistorius' life story is a complex narrative of unparalleled athletic achievement, marred by personal tragedy and legal turmoil. From his early days overcoming a severe disability to his rise as a Paralympic and Olympic hero, Pistorius inspired millions. However, his fall from grace following the murder of Reeva Steenkamp serves as a sobering reminder of the complexities of human nature and the consequences of one's actions. As his legal battles continue, the world watches, reflecting on the legacy of a once celebrated athlete now defined by a tragic and violent act. Pistorius represents the ugly face of femicide, a man who killed his partner and expects to get away with it. It's ironic
that she'd actually been killed in that horrendous way. It was barbaric. I know she was leaving that night. That's my belief. She was leaving that night. She never made it out of that house. I mean, I've decided now on this path that I'm going to go on because of Reeva, and that's why I wrote the book, so that I would have, they would remember, people would remember her and how wonderful she was. She said, "Mommy, things are not right because we're fighting all the time. And in a new relationship, it's not, you don't fight. And love makes you blind." And it was he was trying to control her. And I think that is a warning sign for any mother whose daughter's going through that sort of thing. It's something that I had to do because I want people to remember her. She was the most amazing, wonderful person. And I want people to read that and remember that. It's not going to go away. It's escalating all over the world. And I think that Shine needs support now from the public in New Zealand. This is the whole thing, to make them aware of how bad it is, so they can come forward and help in any way they can. It's a matter of getting help. If you realize you're getting in too deep and it's the wrong person and they're abusive and controlling, then you must try and get away. But the institution of Shine has successfully worked with that for 25 years, so they obviously know what they're doing and they must be commended for that. We're not living in the dark ages. We have to communicate. Make your daughter your friend. She can talk to you and say things are not right here, and you can give them advice.
Ironic that Reeva Steenkamp lost her life at the hands of a man with a gun. She and her mother were passionate, long-time advocates for women suffering from violence and abuse. In South Africa, in the 2-year period of 2011-12, there were 64,500 reported rapes, one every 4 minutes, the highest occurrence in the world, according to the US State Department. Reeva's death devastated her family, friends, and countless admirers. In the aftermath, her mother, June Steenkamp, authored a poignant book titled Reeva, A Mother's Story. In it, June recounts the profound grief of losing her daughter and the enduring pain that followed. The book also sheds light on Reeva's life, her dreams, and her unwavering spirit. At the time of her death, Steenkamp was signed up to appear on Season 5 of the reality TV program Tropica Island of Treasure, and had filmed the series episodes on location in Jamaica. The screening of the series began airing as scheduled on 16th of February 2013, 2 days after her death. The first episode of the series was dedicated to Steenkamp and was preceded by a video tribute to her. To honor Reeva's memory, her parents established the Reeva Rebecca Steenkamp Foundation. The foundation aims to educate and empower women, raising awareness about the dangers of gender-based violence and providing support to survivors. Barry and June Steenkamp have dedicated their lives to ensuring that Reeva's legacy serves as a beacon of hope and a catalyst for change. Reeva Steenkamp's life, though tragically cut short, continues to inspire many. Her journey from a promising law student to a successful model and ultimately a symbol of resilience and strength remains etched in the hearts of those who knew her and the countless individuals touched by her story. Through the work of her foundation and the enduring love of her family, Reeva's legacy lives on, reminding us of the profound impact one life can have. Reeva's tragic death is a story that continues to resonate, offering important lessons about justice, accountability, and the enduring impact of violence on individuals and society. Thank you for watching till the end. The Crime Unfiltered team appreciates your interest, and we encourage you to subscribe, comment, like, and share all our episodes. Until next time, continue to take care of one another.